Hello everybody, welcome to Just One Perspective. My name is Josh. Thank you so much for joining. Today, drink of the day is this, what color is that? Help me out. Purple? Truly Berry Punch. I like the reds the best, but I ran out, so this will have to do. It's pretty good. I'm looking forward to getting back outside, not gonna lie. It's the sun's starting to get up, but daylight savings, gonna ruin everything. So, one of these days, the leaves will come back and I'll get back outside. Is it just me, or has this felt like a really long winter? Maybe it's just where I live, but it has felt like we have been in winter for far too long, like the last 2 years or something. I think it started in October and it's now March, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. Well, maybe a little bit. It was 50 degrees the other day. So a nice balmy, warm 50 degrees. So lately, I have been reading the height of fiction, masterpieces of the written word, and just the best all-around sword-swinging, axe-throwing tales that anybody could read. Yes, that's right, I am talking about Conan the Barbarian. Every single story ever written by Robert E. Howard, written in the 1920s, 1930s. Started with me watching the movie, starring, everybody's favorite, Arnold, and then it went into me finding the soundtrack, really enjoying it, and wanting to raise a couple small towns, or towns that are easy for the taking. Boulder, Colorado. And then from there it branched into me wanting to read every single story that he's ever written, and I have really been enjoying it. Turns out that these are the books that my dad basically learned how to read on, and so they have a solid history in my family on top of it. So thanks to Conan the Barbarian, I am literate. I remember Dad reading a lot when I was a kid. So Dad, if you're watching this, you played a part in my homegrown education. Thank you. Here's to you. If you're watching, text me right now. Say hi to your son. I miss you. But anyway, as I've been watching these movies and reading these books, I have realized that there are actually some great life lessons in here. Yes, it's just pulp fiction, and in some sense it's a masculine guilty pleasure, although I feel no guilt in deriving pleasure from reading these because they are awesome and they are fun, and who wouldn't want to be Conan the Cimmerian, or more colloquially known as Conan the Barbarian. He defeats devils, he kills snake men, he fights evil wizards, and he always gets the girl, and he looks awesome doing it. Why would you not want to be Conan? But beyond and beneath that pulpy exterior, that superficial layer of just coolness and awesomeness that I can't stop talking about because I've really enjoyed it, there are some things in here that I thought are that has a little more depth that you can draw out to actually think about and apply to your own life. And I wanted to go into those today, and maybe it'll encourage some of you to go and read this, whether you're man, woman, child, boy, girl, whatever. I guarantee you will find something that you like in these stories. But I'm not going to lie, if you are between the ages of 12 and dead, and a man of the male persuasion, you will probably like these a little bit better. But hey, who am I to say? Give them a shot. Check them out. They're great. And if you love Lovecraft, it feels in some sense Lovecraftian too. Sounds like Robert E. Howard was a friend of H.P. Lovecraft, so that's kind of cool. Go check it out. And if you don't have time to do that, just watch this movie. And if you have extra time, watch The Destroyer. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's better than a lot of movies that are coming out today. So there you have it. Anyway, I have 5 life lessons that we can all learn from Conan the Barbarian. First, question everything. If you have played traditional Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop RPGs with sword and sorcery elements to it, you are probably familiar with the superstitious barbarian. That's where this came from, and it's because the man questions everything. When somebody tells him something, he doesn't immediately disbelieve it, but he immediately searches for truth behind it. Is there any evidence to what they're claiming? Is there anything to what they're saying? And I think, this goes back to what I was saying about 95% of what people say is wrong. It's not necessarily that people are constantly lying to you, but you should just trust them, but verify that what they're saying is accurate. when your government is telling you to do certain things and asking you to follow the rules because it is good for you, what is actually good for you is to question everything, question their motives, question what they want from you, and maybe steal a giant jewel from an elephant man in a crazy tower while you're at it. Number 2, take initiative. Have a bias toward action. The man never stops. When he thinks that his enemies are closing in on him, he grabs his sword and he rushes headlong and tries to break their ranks before they even have a chance to close in on him and kill him. When he thinks that armies are amassing at the border, when he's a king later in the novels, by the way. Actually, the very first story is of him being a king. The first thing he does is say, well, let's take up arms and let's meet them there. We're not going to wait, even if we don't have all the knowledge. I think there's a typical philosophy that you may have read, even in business and things like this, that you can act when you have 80% of the knowledge. When you feel like you have 80% of the knowledge, it's time to take initiative. It's time to make the first move. Don't wait for other people to make the first move. I'm learning this the hard way in jiu-jitsu. If I wait, before I know it, I'm going to be coiled up into a pretzel, tied into a nice little knot, and discarded amongst the other carcasses of blue belts that are there on the side, and white belts too. A lot of times it doesn't matter if I take initiative there because a lot of people are just so much better than I am, but hey, I notice that I do better if I act first or try to set the pace. Number 3, take risks, and really what I'm learning here is, this is really cool from this guy, is don't be too attached to life. And what I mean by that is not going out and looking for ways to die and throwing your life and spending your life carelessly and losing it carelessly, but just understanding that you're going to die. You're mortal, and so you only have one life to live. And if you're going to go out in a bang. I mean, there's so many times where he just says, you know what? Looks like they got us. But hey, I'm going to take as many of them down with me as I can. You know, it's the old Star Fox saying, if I go down, I'm taking you with me. Sorry, I'm just a bastion of nerdiness today. Just a fount of wanton geek crap. I'm not sorry for it. So, Star Fox 64 is pretty cool too. So, anyway, take the risks, calculated risks. Like if you need to make a flying leap with a sword in your hand, do it. You might break an ankle, but it might help you survive, right? If you're an investor and you see that there's something opening up and there's a small company that you think may not do super hot, but it has that chance and you're not going to lose out too much if you go for it, then go for it. If you're afraid of heights, go bungee jumping. Go, what is it called? Why am I not thinking of the word when you jump out of an airplane with a parachute? Do that. God, you can kill me in the comments. What is that called? Hold on. A drink might help. Skydiving. There it is. It was in my brain. The power was within me all along. But take risks. Life is not worth living if you're not going to take risks. If you're a guy and that super cute girl is checking you out and making signals at you, then, approach. Take the initiative. Take the risk. She might shoot you down, but you know what? The more you get shot down, the more used to it you're going to get. Just like, I'm going to liken it to jiu-jitsu again. If you're taking a risk, you might get that reward. You might get it, but hey, you might get punished for it too. But if you are just milquetoast and just going for mediocre, then don't take any risks. You will be dead and buried before you know it and long forgotten. So I took that dark pretty quickly, but it's true. Number 4, never give up. We've talked about this before. This man never gives up, and it's, I think I spoiled it a moment ago when I said that when he's surrounded, he says, I'm going to take as many with me as I can, and I'm going to take these dogs to hell. And then he just goes for it. He's not worried about how many cuts or bruises he has. He's not worried about who's called him names or who's hurt him or how unfair it is. He just keeps pushing, and he doesn't let anything get him down. He just says, I'm going to go for it. I'm not giving up. I might die in the process, but they'll know who I was when they took me down, and they'll know what the effort it took to take me down. And then half the time, he wins. All of the time. He wins. And that's not because there's any deus ex machina that comes in and just kind of saves him out of nowhere. No, it's other things that have been set up earlier in the stories or friends he's made along the way. who swoop in to save him. And so he's not entirely perfect. He can't kill 1,000 men and just keep plowing, but he comes pretty close though. So never give up. You never know when things are going to turn your way because you just held out for a little bit longer. I think about even things like depression. For a lot of you and a lot of us, myself included, who have experienced depression, a lot of times it feels like you're at the end of you're at the very end of what you can tolerate, and you can't go any further, and you're just done, and you just want to lay down and die. But if you don't give up and you wait just a little bit longer, chances are things are going to get better. And I'm not even going to say in this one, chances are, I guarantee you that things will get better. If you're depressed and you wait it out, things do get better, guaranteed. Number 5, live in the moment. This is one that I think I need to learn the most out of these 5. Maybe take initiative too. But for me, I think living in the moment, I have a nasty habit of looking forward and thinking, what am I doing next? Okay, I'm here now, but what's next? What's tomorrow? What's next week? What's next weekend? How do I plan for this? How do I plan for that? Instead of just sitting down and enjoying what I'm doing in the moment, like right now, just enjoying talking to all of you and getting to talk about one of the coolest Pulp Fiction heroes in the history of written word. And so instead of just focusing on other things, focus on what's right in front of you. There's so much to experience and so much to enjoy that's right in front of you. And if you lose sight of that, then you're not really living. There are so many times in these books where they'll just have survived. He typically has a female companion. They'll have just survived some harrowing experience, and then he'll pull her in and he'll give her a big kiss, and she's like, how can you think about love at a time like this? And he's like, hey, my heart's still beating, right? So I'm gonna live. I love it. I love life, and I'm just gonna live it. And so I think I need to learn more of that, also known as stopping to smell the roses, right? It's a big, beautiful world out there with lots of things to do and lots of really cool people. A lot of the opposite, agreed. And that's where taking the risks comes into play. But you're not going to be able to live in the moment if you're not taking those risks and trying to enjoy it. So I find myself so many times just not focused. If you're in a conversation with somebody, you're having lunch with somebody, focus on that conversation. Be there. Be present. Be with them. Don't be on your phone. Don't be thinking about something else. And if you are, maybe bring that up and say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about this other thing. Can you help me talk through it? Or whatever. But yeah, number 5. Live in the moment. I can certainly do better at this. And there you go. 5 things that you can learn from Conan the Barbarian. If you haven't read these books, you absolutely should. And I don't think I can make a better case as to why you should than what I've said already today. So thank you all so much for your time. Appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for sticking around. And if it pleases you, do all the social media things. Hit the buttons, do the share things, but especially if you find this meaningful and helpful and useful, please share it with somebody who you think will benefit from it. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Stay vigilant out there, my friends.